Hello everyone, and it has been 2 years since I did a mini collection video, and especially now that we are working on the unofficial Halo tabletop game, hopefully going to have some supplements and again players guides and play character sheets available eventually on the Patreon, again for free. You don't have to sign on for it, it's just a means to get the files away. But because of that, I want to introduce to you what I have for my D&D, the Halo tabletop minis, which you've maybe seen the openings so far. First of all, let's show our Marines. Got a couple Sergeant Johnsons. Who would not want to play Sergeant Johnson? Also have had these that come from the strategy board game. Came out a couple years ago. I need to make a video on how that relates to HeroScape in a lot of ways. Then we have a lot of SMG. This guy's off his base, unfortunately, so he is my dead Marine. They love the battle rifle back in the Halo 2, Halo 3 days, so they made him standing and not. And they, luckily with the Hunter set, they actually made the sniper, if you can see, which is pretty good. Who doesn't want to play a sniper while playing a couple different, how to put it, passes of playing with the game that I've made and done it. Nobody wants to be, again, the Space Marines at all. The closest we got was someone wanting to be a Marine. They did not want to be a Spartan or anything else. They really love the Covenant. I think the hardest part to find wasn't the Marines. You saw how many of those I had. I had to especially go out of my way to find this one stand-in for the ODST, even though there's an ODST game. Hopefully when we write through this, there'll be classes you can pick from if you pick for a human, or you could kind of level progress into again, Marines or ODST to kind of like Spartan, which you kind of see in the games. I do have some stand-ins from HeroScape that kind of give these cyborg-like guys that could be used, but it was hard to find an ODST. Even though I find the ODST game to be the most compelling Halo game in mechanics. But they are hard to find via minis. Next, let's go to the namesake, the mascot. Let's go over just the Spartans. In the anniversary collection pack, they actually got these plain white ones, which I see people like to repaint because it's already based with such a thing. But then you have blue, and then red. These are also from the strategy game, if you will. Yet again, nobody has ever shown any interest of wanting to actually play these because they wanted new experiences in the Halo universe. If not Bungie, it's not Bungie anymore. If 343 will finally learn that we want experiences outside of just the Master Chief, that'd be great. No playable elites is pretty ridiculous. And of course, there is quite a lot if you want to be a green Spartan like Master Chief. You have gravity hammers, invisibility with a sword, what I like to call the Halo 2 model. And this is like the Halo 3 model, with just the VR. There's more of him dual wielding. Needler, the strategy game version, which is very unassuming, and even Master Chief with a Cortana AI in hand, which is quite interesting. Now, these are the major, classes, races playable for humans, just being the Marine, the ODST, and the Spartan. If I could look more into the lore, and again, there isn't any mini representation of it, but it would be cool to actually have someone like a Halsey, so you can be like a super scientist. It clearly would be like more of a cleric or a buffing class. Doing physical augmentations on your teammates and stuff in a tabletop game would be great. Another one I was thinking about but haven't put it even into any practice would be the idea of being an AI. Again, you have no mobility options, but you would have stuff like hacking, yet again, more of these secondary classes that people don't tend to like, but I think would add a lot more flavor to the human side of things. Lastly, I want to show off the vehicles that we have got my hands on. So we actually have a Pelican, which I think is very iconic for the series. And then we do have the Action Clicks Warthog, which is kind of cool that I can remove off its base, but it's getting way too expensive than what it ought to. I also found a Gun Goose, which should have been just a normal mongoose. But out there, this is about all I can find that's close enough to scale. Of course, the Pelican is very much smaller. I'm assuming it would be like a zoomed out. You can do space battles and stuff with it. But I can't find a suitable Scorpion tank. There's an RC one, but it'll be it might be closer to scale, but I'll throw this one off. But that is my minis for my UNSC collection. I did have to read that. If you're interested, we have a playlist of us actually playtesting the mechanics, and eventually, it's not out yet, eventually the Patreon should have a printable version of the sheet, and you'll eventually get supplements to be able to easily fill it out. I still don't know about level. I like the idea of it being more skill-based. But the idea of being able to level, of course, because a Marine would be basic, ODST is more skilled. I think Spartan would be a good character arc story, but as I told you, nobody wants to play Spartans. I've had so many people say, I just want to play a normal Marine. You've seen Sergeant Dill in one of the plays, and in a campaign we have been planning out, but we need the people that inspired it to come out. There's also Pistol Larry, which is actually a Marine that went AWOL. But I'm just showing off the minis that we had here, and we'll go through Marines, Covenant, which is probably the biggest one. We'll go to the Flood, and even what I have for, what was it, the Forerunner, the Prometheans or whatever, but that's for another day's video. Thank you for liking it. This is kind of a stand-in in between gameplay sessions. My party has not decided if they wanted to play more Halo to practice, or if we're going to go back to our D&D campaign, because we have left that in a limbo for like about a year. This is Relic Jones signing out.